The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.
Welcome to the Take Shape for Life Habits of Health webinar. My name is Craig Blanchette, and I'm a certified health coach with Take Shape for Life, and it's my pleasure to host this meeting for you today. First of all, if this is your first time joining the Habits of Health webinar, a special welcome to you. This meeting is for all TSFL clients, coaches, and health professionals. What if you don't fit in one of those groups, though? Maybe you're simply interested in learning more about optimal health and how to create it in your life. Well, you're warmly welcomed too. You may also hear content geared toward those in the weight loss phase of their health journey, those in transition, or for those in the optimization phase. That's the life after your weight loss phase. We have that. Take Shape for Life offers excellent tools and support for weight loss, but we don't stop there. We have a lot to offer anyone who is looking to better their health in any area of life. If you are on the weight loss phase, perhaps our 5-in-1 structured meal plan, please be sure to follow the guidelines that have been set up for you by your health coach. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel and podcast within 48 hours. Find it on YouTube, search Habits of Health Zoom, and for the podcast, open your podcast player of choice. We recommend iTunes, and search for TSFL. For those who are listening to the recording of the podcast later, we're glad you've taken the time. We invite you to join us live next time and be part of the discussion. These Habits of Health support webinars are held every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and that's 5:30 p.m. Pacific. So now, let's get on with the show. Tonight, my topic is called Quiet Time and Breathing. And of course, I said earlier, my name is Craig Blanchette. I'm going to kind of take you back a little bit right now into some place that you've possibly been in your past. That is, if you're human anyway. I saw this picture, stress, all these things coming into your life and all this crazy stuff going on. Right? Maybe you are, this kind of is like, I'm not sure I'm going to make it through another day, right? Yeah, we all have those days once in a while. Maybe this not kind of exemplifies where you're at. Actually, what I'd love you to do right now is take a minute and in the chat window, post or comment on which one of these. Is it this one with all the arrows where you're just looking at your computer and you're just kind of going, no? Or maybe it's this man that's just looking there going, ugh, oof, I'm not sure I'm going to make it. Life's not good. A lot of stress. Or maybe it's these knots where you feel like your life is just kind of knotted up. Comment in the chat window right now which one of those most identifies with you when you're in a stressful situation. Maybe it's this last one where the guy's just like, oh man, I just don't know if I'm going to make it another day. So comment there. When you're done commenting there, I'd love to hear actually where you all are from tonight. Maybe you guys are, I know you're from somewhere all around the country. So go ahead and list where you're from so we can get a good idea of where we're at. Another thing you might do is, after you list where you're at, go ahead and list something about your health that's better now that you're part of this program than it was, this community really, than it was prior to learning about this. Maybe it's a weight loss thing, but there's a whole lot, weight loss is kind of a big umbrella, and a lot of things get better when we're able to lose weight and sustain that weight loss. Great. So I can see, yeah, some good comments there. Excellent. So as we're thinking about our life, and we definitely do have times when there's lots of stress in your life, I found a couple of things that are really beneficial to me personally. And one of those things is just learning how to control my kind of my mind, control what I'm thinking about, control, get focused on what matters most. And one of those things that I've noticed that works really well is when I get into a situation and I start to, they call it the limbic brain or your amygdala. It's actually in the back of your head. I don't know why I point there because it doesn't really mean anything, but it's this place in your brain where you start to kind of feel like you either want to run from something, or you just want to hide, or maybe you want to lash out and fight. They call it the fight, flight, freeze syndrome. And a lot of times when we get stressed out in our bodies, we can stop being present and stop being intentional about our life, and we can sort of get kind of shut down. We start to get our ego involved. We start to take things personally. We start to just act in ways that we wouldn't normally act in. And so when I get to situations like that, I'm trying to become more aware when I'm there. I learned in one of the health coach trainings last September, they talked about awareness without judgment. And so that's one of the things I'm really focusing on in my life, to be aware of when I'm not showing up like I want to be. And when I notice it, then I can change it. There's one of my mentors, her name is Helen Irwin, and she had this famous quote. She said, "The only things that can hurt us in life are things that we can't see." I'm going to say that again. Let that sink in. The only things that can hurt us deeply in life are the things that we can't see. And I thought about that. What if I was out on a trail and there was a rattlesnake and I didn't see it? It could hurt me. But if I saw it, I could walk around it, give it lots of room, and then it couldn't hurt me. So I'm not sure that's true in every circumstance, but just think about the concept. If there's things in your life you're not aware of, they can actually hurt you. And as you become aware of, you can change those so that they don't hurt you or don't hurt relationships that are important to you. So as you're thinking about that, you get into a situation. I was talking to one of my clients, her name's Kathy, and she was walking down, she was out walking with her husband on a trail, and it started to get to a point where it was kind of hard and she was getting a little bit tired. And immediately this idea came into her brain, or in her mind. I guess it wasn't really in her brain. It popped into her mind that she needed a cheeseburger. And so she actually thought about that for a minute. And we had talked about a technique that I'm going to teach you towards the end of this webinar on what you can do when you're going along in life and something jumps out at you and says food or whatever it might be, TV, distraction, run away, whatever it might be. And so think about that for a minute and just kind of camp on that, and we'll get back to there in just a second. So this next one is, let's think about times kind of the opposite of being stressed out, times when we are having some relaxing times. And I'd love for you to comment on which one of these, I've got 4 of them here, which one of these sticks out to you personally the most. This one, the nice slippers and the warm cup of something, and then the fireplace. Those are things that really stood out to me. The electronic devices, not so much, but the rest of this photo really stood out to me. And here's another one. Maybe it's a massage, right? Just the warm glow in that room and just the quietness of that situation. It's pretty great. How about this one? It's I love the shoes. First of all, it's kind of funny because I don't even wear shoes. For those of you who know me, you know what I mean by that. But think about that. You're just out in the fields. It's a nice warm day, and you're just relaxing, grass around you, the trees, maybe there's a little bit of wind blowing. Is that relaxing to you? Or maybe it's this one here. This is kind of fun. I think one of the reasons why I pulled this one out is my wife and I are actually celebrating 25 years of marriage this month, and we're heading to the Dominican Republic. And so there'll be, well, hopefully there'll be some water like that. I think there will be. Anyway, so which one of those stands out to you the most? Is it the coffee and the fireplace? Is it the massage, relaxing massage? Is it the kind of some green grass and some nice trees? Or is it possibly a tropical location? Okay, great stuff. So we're going to jump over to this picture here. Made a lot of sense to me. It's emotional eating, where you get into a situation where your emotions are freaking out, and you go to food. And if you've, I know, blink if you've done that, right? Emotions don't always necessarily, this girl doesn't look like she's having a bad day. It looks like she's kind of happy. So emotions aren't necessarily always bad. I think my mind goes to, when I'm feeling bad, those are the emotions that I want to eat and kind of mask. But what about times when you're having a great day and you are focused on the food more so than the day or the enjoyment of the day? There's a couple of things to think about there, that emotions can be good, can be bad, and we can eat, we can use food for both of those situations. How about this one? You got that luminous fork there. I've heard someone say, you can't outrun the fork, right? If you have emotions and you're using emotions or food to mask emotions, that can be a problem. How about this one here? He's got a little jelly donut there. He looks like he's a little emotional, going to some powdered sugar for some relief. Here's the problem, though. Dan Bell, another one of my mentors. By the way, if you don't have mentors in your life, I recommend one. I recommend that everybody has a mentor and is mentoring someone. It's just a super, you got this one life, and we got options to learn different things. And so if you don't have a mentor, by the way, if you're on our program, everybody has a health coach, which is in some way a mentor. But Dan Bell says this: eating only feels good when you're doing it. Does that ring true for you? You think about, oh, this meal's going to be great. Oh, I can't wait to eat this thing. And the reality is that it only feels good when you're doing it. And so if you use or eat or utilize food as your primary go-to to relieve stress or to deal with emotions, the problem with that is that it only is going to relieve those feelings when you're doing it. And if it's something that didn't serve you well, you're probably going to end up having more emotions on the backside of that you're now feeling guilty for eating those things or overeating or whatever. And so I have a strategy of trying to find something that's calorie free that can be a stress management tool. And so that's what we're going to actually get to. Here is a couple of keys of some things that I've used in my life to be able to manage some stress. And so, you ready for the first key? I thought you might be. But before we get there, I'd love for you guys to comment in the chat window some different situations where you personally have eaten emotionally. If your mind goes to a bad situation, go ahead and choose that one and type that one in. But if it goes to a situation where you have emotionally eaten because you're feeling great, go ahead and post that in the window as well. Excellent. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Well, here's a couple of keys that are really, really simple One of them's super simple, and it's actually comes out of Dr. A's Habits of Health book. So if you guys got your Habits of Health book out, you want to turn to page 314. All right. I'm going to turn off the screen share here for a second. So at the top of 314, Dr. A says, this is a simple relaxation meditation. Meditation just is another word for saying focus. So it's focused relaxation, if you will. It says the goal here is to clear your mind of all thoughts, so on all distractions. You don't want to empty your mind, just want to clear your mind. Turn off the mental merry-go-round that's feeding your brain and body with tension and creating a negative mental state. And he says step one is to set aside 10 to 20 minutes. So right there, some of you might be thinking, well, I don't have 10 to 20 minutes. Well, what if you were to look at the next 7 days of your life and see what you can do to find 10 to 20 minutes? I think you probably could do it, especially if you found value in it. What if that 10 to 20 minutes, a couple times a week, kind of brought a superpower? We'll call it sanity. The sanity is the new superpower, right? Good choices might be in the morning before breakfast or just before your evening meal. It might be when you get home from work and you're sitting still in your car, you just stop for 10 minutes and you walk through this. I don't know. Pick a time though. I dare you. Step two, find a cozy spot, a quiet place, serene place where you can be alone with your thoughts without interruption. Make sure you turn off any electronic communication devices. I also call those distraction devices. It's the double D. Silence is the overriding principle. Sit up straight on the floor in a comfortable, relaxed position with your legs crossed. You can also sit in a chair with your feet flat if sitting on the floor it's difficult or uncomfortable for you. Place your hands together in your lap with your right hand resting on your left, palms up, and begin taking slow breaths in the abdominal breathing technique described in chapter 19. That's on page 241. So you just want to breathe from your diaphragm. And basically the whole idea is to have your mind's eye, or the focus of your mind, just be present. So if you sit there just in a relaxed state, and as you close your eyes, you start to kind of breathe in and breathe out, and you're just going to start kind of focusing on your head, your eyes. You're going to move to your nose, your mouth, and you just kind of move your focus as you breathe to different parts of your body. It really just ends up allowing us to be aware of being present. It's aware of the now. And our minds, I don't know about you, but maybe you haven't thought about this. My mind is usually in the future or the past. It spends very little time in the present. Think about that for a minute. When I do this exercise, my mind's going to the future. What do I need to do? I gotta get done with this exercise. I got things to do. So it's in the future, or it's in the past saying, did I get that done? When I said that person, I'm analyzing the past, right? It's very difficult and a challenge. You have to build this muscle up to be able to be in the present. But anyway, close your eyes and you breathe and just kind of focus on your body. You can kind of focus on your arms, focus on how your clothing is touching your arms. Just try to be present. And if your mind runs to the future, just kind of grab it and pull it back. If it runs to the past, grab it and pull it. Just try to be present as you work through this. And then you end up just going through the exercise. Sometimes people will say some things to kind of help them be present. Maybe they'll talk about things they're thankful for. But I just try to get in some breathing, try to be present in my body, maybe just for a count of 10 breaths. I don't know, whatever it might be for you. Just there's an exercise that comes from Dr. A's Habits of Health, and it's been pretty helpful for me. All right. And here's another option. This is, I do this a lot, actually. I did this right before I started the webinar tonight, because I wanted to kind of let the day before me kind of be separated from this time with you guys now. So I call it box breathing. I learned this from one of my buddies, another health coach. His name's Jeff Jolly. And he said, basically the 4x4, I've done that before. And it's just 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. And you do 4 of those. So it might be 4 by 4 by 4, I guess. But anyway, you guys understand what I mean. And so box breathing is you breathe in for 4 seconds, then you hold it for 4 seconds, then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and then you hold it for 4 seconds, and you do 4 of those. And I actually want to let's do a couple of these together. And by the way, if you feel in your brain that this is weird, it's because it is a little weird, but so it's effective, it's helpful. And think of this like the first time you did push-ups might have felt weird as you were starting to do them. But then over time, those push-ups built some strength in your body, in your physical body. Well, breathing is a way to build strength in your mind and in your brain neural pathways and stuff like that. It's like, really? Something as simple as breathing? Well, it's not just breathing, because we breathe all the time every day, but it's conscious breathing. It's where you're paying attention and you're controlling your breath. That's where the magic happens inside your brain, and that's where you can build these muscles in your brain. So, ready? We're just going to go ahead and do this together. And if you think this is weird, just do it with me. It's just breathing. If you told somebody you're breathing today, they'll say, "Yeah, I did the same thing. As a matter of fact, I did it all day." Everybody breathes. All right, ready? So we're going to go in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, out for 4, hold it for 4. We'll do 2 of these. All right, ready? In for 4. In. Hold it. Now out. Hold it. In. Hold it. Out. Hold it. All right. How's that feel? Actually, I'd love you to take a minute and just chat about that. Was that your first time doing one of those? You know, it's just breathing. You're just slowing down your breathing and being present. You know, they have the saying, take time and stop and smell the roses. This is that kind of concept. Stop and be present in your life. You've got a lot of things to be thankful for if you just take a minute. And so you can stop, and this allows your brain to start to become more aware of your surroundings, because there's a ton of things to be thankful for. All right. So here's the next step. This thing has been just like, it is a serious superpower. And so I call it defragmenting your brain. And it, if you look at all these crayons, they're all in order and they all have this nice color thing. It kind of seems like they're in order. They're not just jumbled around. And so the idea, I'm about to drop the J word, right? And if I wouldn't talk about this so much if it wasn't actually so effective. So what I've done is I actually went out and I bought a calligraphy pen. I call it a dip pen, where you just dip it in. I'm not really doing calligraphy. I mean, I'm not very artsy with it, but it's just a pen. I got this off of Amazon. I think it was $20, and it's got, you know, it's got the little pen with different tips that you can get, and it's got a little thing of ink and some different tips. I pretty much found just one that I like, and I get my journal, which is just a book with words in it. And don't be afraid of the J word, right? And I think journaling for me, what journaling does for me, it allows me to defragment my brain. So my brain's got all this stuff up there, all these thoughts, all these ideas, all this stuff I'm processing through, what I got to do, schedules, you know, all this stuff, listening to different music or news or whatever it is. I just got all this stuff in my brain. And sometimes I just need to stop and do a defragment, kind of like your computer. It's got to defrag sometimes. And so you run a program that basically organizes everything. Well, one of the things that journaling does is it helps you to organize your brain. It defragments it. And so what I'll do is if you've never journaled before, get a piece of paper, maybe a little composition book or something. And you can get a fun pen like this. I think pens are pretty fun, but just any old pen. And just start with this. This is one of the first times I've ever journaled. It feels a little bit strange doing this, but Coach Craig said that this would be good for my brain, so I'm listening. And just kind of process your thoughts out through your pen onto paper. Over time, you'll start writing things you're really hopeful for or you're excited about. Maybe some things that you want to work on. Maybe there's some of your dreams. And you write down, if I were to actually do that, I would need to do this and that first. And just start to process it down on a paper. One of the things that journaling does such a powerful thing in my brain is we've got these two sides of our brain, right? The left side, right side. One's creative, one's more logical. And then we have this space in the center called the corpus callosum. And for women, they've got a lot more highways and pathways between the two sides, but men don't have as many. So one of the ways that you can increase your creative side with your logical side working together is journaling. And so when you're writing on paper, you're actually drawing. I don't know if you thought about it. When you're typing, you're not really being creative. I mean, not be creative in what you're saying, but when you're actually using a pen, an A, for example, is just a little drawing. It's a little picture. So as you're drawing and writing, you're actually using your creative side of your brain. The other thing you're doing is that you're formulating little pictures into words and words into sentences, sentences into paragraphs, and then you get these thoughts that come out of that. And so you have to slow down as you're writing because otherwise you won't be able to read it, and you have to make sure this word becomes before that word. So there's some logical order to it. So it allows the creative side with the logic side to unite and strengthen those pathways between the two. That's one of the reasons why I do it. The other thing you can do is you can try writing a famous poem or a scripture or something, but do it with your left hand. Now your brain's like on alert because you're really focusing on what you're doing. So that's like a heavy duty defragmentation. But go get a little dip pen. You can order these off of Amazon, like I said, and plus it just kind of feels fun. You dip in, you have to slow down because your pen runs out of ink about every 3 sentences. And so you have to stop and you dip in and then you get going again. And then, I don't know, it's just been it's been so therapeutic for me in trying to become more present and aware with my life, the things that are going on in my life that I really, I don't want to miss out on. Sometimes I'll be a part of something that's really amazing, and I'm thinking about how quickly it's going to end and what we're going to do afterwards and how bummed I'm going to be when it's over. And I miss out on the thing. I miss out on fully experiencing what it actually is. Sometimes with food, you might do that. You're so excited about dessert that you pound through your dinner. Someone just told me recently, if you have a hard time with being present with food, eat with your opposite hand. Slow down and actually eat with your opposite hand and try with every bite to discover at least one flavor or texture. My son and I just went out the other day. Alexander and I, we went out for lunch. We go out to lunch on Mondays, and we went to a sushi place. And I'm not a big sushi fan, but he had this salmon, raw salmon, and he puts it in his mouth and he said, "Dad, just put it in your mouth and just wait and walk through it." He goes, do you taste that? It's a little buttery. Did you taste that? It's a little bit cinnamony. And he's describing these things. I'm like, yeah, whoa, wait a minute. And so my awareness over the appreciation of those flavors changed. And normally I just, I'm not a big sushi fan, but I just eat, because I want to be full. So a couple strategies there, kind of as we're recapping here. Think about times that you're stressed out. Think about times when you are relaxed. And then think about this idea of what you can do. Some simple breathing exercises it activates your superpowers, right? Journaling does the same thing. And then there's also the exercise in Dr. A's Habits of Health. And in a pinch, like I told you, my friend Kathy was walking down the trail, and all of a sudden she said, "Cheeseburger." or that's what her mind told her. And she stopped and she did her 4x4 breathing. And then she gave me a call and she said, it worked. That was amazing. So think about that. Hope this helps you in your journey towards becoming more present in where you are so that you can enjoy this life that you have. Thanks. Good night, everybody.
The preceding audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.